Hello and welcome to our little quick tutorial here. So I'm going to select an image here and I'm going to go open with the GIMP, which is an image manipulation program, and this is the image we're going to work on that we took a couple of weeks ago. Don't ignore that, that was a copying files message. So this image here, we've opened it and we're going to do just a couple of very simple things to it to start off sort of our kind of digital imaging sort of class. So first of all, we're in this program called GIMP, and it's like Photoshop, only it's open source, so it's free. Now it's not quite as good as Photoshop, but it's pretty good. So what we're going to do in this little tutorial is I'm going to create a new layer, a background layer. I'm going to make it white, and then I'm going to cut out all of this background, and I'm going to place white behind it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create on this layer a thing called an alpha channel. So I'm going to go Layer, Transparency, Add Alpha Channel, and that just means that I'm allowing myself to see through parts of this layer. And then I'm going to click on this little tool here. It's a scissors tool, and the scissors tool allows me to make selections. Now you can see I'm going to click here and it will create a line that curves to the side of the face. So it's a really kind of smart tool. It's trying to figure out exactly where the outline or the edge of the thing you're drawing around. Now the hair that we're trying to draw around is not great. It's like, to get a sharp edge on it won't be ideal, but this is just an example of what we can do. So we'll just have a little play. So I've selected all the way around, and I'm going to press the enter key now, and that's very important. So that sort of confirms your selection. I'm going to feather the edge. Now what does that do? That means sort of as it cuts out, it won't be a really hard edge that it cuts out. The other thing I want to do is I want to go Selection, Invert, because what I've done is I've selected our model, and what I actually want to select is the surrounding area. So I'm going to go Invert Selection. Now it looks like nothing's happened, but what we've actually done is we're the outline or the outside is selected and not the inside. So I'm going to press the delete key now, and we have deleted all of the background. Like I said, this feather edge here, I don't know if you can see it working. It basically takes the hard edge off the what we've cut here. So now I'm going to put in a new layer, and we'll just leave it. We'll call it BG for background. So I've got a background layer. Now when I add a new layer, it's added in on top, so I'm going to literally drag and drop it underneath. We'll turn off this top layer for a second, and we don't need that selection anymore, so we're going to go Select, None. So with my background selected, I'm going to click on this tool here. I'm sure you've seen it before in little paint applications. It's a little fill tool. It's like a paint bucket. So I'm going to make it white and go OK, and then click anywhere here in the screen and it'll go white. So now we've got a white background. I'm going to turn my layer back on top here, and now we've got so we've isolated the image. Now we've got some harsh lines here, so that's not ideal, but it's just to show you what's possible and some of the things we'll be doing in this program into the future. So kind of cutting things out and changing the colors in them. So what we're doing today is just to kind of give you an overview of the sort of tools that we have at our disposal. So we've cut out the background and we've placed the model on a new background. So now just let's have a little look at some of the things that we can do. So under tools here, we've got color tools, and there's a whole bunch of really interesting tools here. So I'm just going to go to color balance, and we can start to play with our color. Now that's obviously a very extreme change I've made, so I've increased the amount of red in the image, but we can do that quite subtly if we wanted to. And with small changes here, you can do things like make someone look like they were indoors or outdoors in terms of the sort of lighting that they were photographed under. And as you can see up here, we've got there's lots and lots of things that we can do to this image. So we can change the saturation, so that's the amount of color in it. So if I bring this all the way down, it'll go basically black and white. Or I can put too much color in, so the colors are really popping out. Let me bring it back to the middle setting. I can change the lightness and go the other way. Again, these are things you would change kind of subtly, and then hue will throw the colors out entirely. So we're using different color schemes, but you can get some very interesting effects. Now sometimes you won't want to do this to your image because it'll be you get undesirable results. But if you did have an image and you're wondering what would it look like if, or what would she look like if I had put blue here or pink or whatever, you can rather than having to take off all the makeup and doing it all again, you can have a play with like sort of different color possibilities. So I was going to hit cancel here and go back to our original. So we're not going to go through all these today, but I just want to give you an idea of what's possible and the sort of things that we'll be playing with in the next week or two. So that's so we're 7 minutes in, so that's hopefully not too much for you, and we will do a little bit more in class.